It's time to think about how I'm going to join them. I haven't actually found a method that I'm 100% happy with. With the flying stab, the small parts, what I was getting a lot of flashing, like this. Not as thin as this, not as nice as this. And then what I was doing is I was using super glue to run around the edge, and then clamp the other bit on top. And what happened is obviously the super glue would go into the flashing, and set up fine, and everything was happy. But then I tried that on the wing, and what I did do was I removed all the flashing first. And the reason why I removed the flashing first was that it was quite thick in areas, and I didn't want to double up error in the mould. So obviously if it's thick here and the other one's perfect, then you just put error in there. So I cleaned up all the cleaned up around the wing, and then used super glue. And obviously the super glue, even though I did use ease release on first, I actually put ease release back onto I gave one coat of ease release first, and then joined them. The super glue went straight through the ease release and then glued the two parts of the mould together. I'm quite happy. I mean, I got them apart and I repaired them, but no, I don't want to use super glue again. The other thing I've used 5-minute epoxy. That worked great. Just a little bit worried about the additional weight that might add. What else have I used? And Gorilla Glue I've tried, and that actually worked quite well. But again, I'm a little bit worried about the additional weight it might have. I think what I'm going to do is, so I haven't actually tried Gorilla Glue on the wing, and I quite like the idea of it actually swelling. It foams up. The Gorilla Glue sort of foams up it ever so slightly. So it'll take up any gaps, but I don't think there shouldn't be any gaps actually in this. It should be pretty good. So I could just put little bits of Gorilla Glue on the one part, and then maybe just with a brush, just wet the other part, just with a paintbrush, just moisten it up, and then put the two together and leave it overnight. I mean, the one thing I did like about the super glue is very quick, and because I'm lining with pins, as it goes down square. It's not like I have to readjust it. It just can only go down one way. I've got some of the glue, actually, plastic glues for Depron and stuff, so I might actually have a look at that before I make a decision. Either way, I'm going to clean up the edges. When it's really fine like this, when the flashing's really fine like this, it's easy just to use a sharp X-Acto knife and just go around. It doesn't, just be warned, it doesn't like cut. It's sort of more chips than cuts. So just be careful if it's really thick. Either just rough it out with your X-Acto knife, and then use a sanding block to take down the last little bit of flashing. Or a Dremel works really well with a cutting wheel on it. Works really well to remove your flashing. You can see I've done the repair on the crack, so that's good. That's nice and strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop you on time lapse while I remove all the flashing, and then we'll chat again in a bit. Okay, so I've trimmed the parts down. The area is already concentrated on is the inlet for the ducting. So it's easy to sand that round now while it's not joined, and this saddle bit where it's going to plug into the fuselage eventually. around the leading edge and the tips, I haven't gone too crazy. I want to leave some flashing on there. So because what I've found before is I've actually sanded away too much of the leading edge or the trailing edge. So I've just left a tad on there. So when it joins, I've got a bit more material to sand off, but at least I can sand the two off together and get it perfect. Same with this part here. Obviously, I've taken out the little hatch for the where the server access is going to be. Cleaned all that up because obviously again that's going to be a lot easier to do now than later. I've also given the cavity part of the mould a coat of ease release. Sorry. One thing I haven't checked yet is whether these two parts of the moulds will go together now. Okay, because these two have never been mated. So we've always had like a core and a cavity, but now that we need to bring these two together so we can join the parts. So all I need to do is poke our. I'm not going to force it this time. Poke our pegs down. Oh, yeah. Doesn't matter which side these go in. These are actually probably too small now, so what I'll do is bring them together now and gently, hopefully they'll fit. Okay, and then I'll have a look here, and then that's gone in fine. So what I'm actually going to do now, just to make things easier later on, is I can see here's something stressing a bit the sunlight. What I won't do is I'm going to poke these through, just poke these out one at a time, and then put the drill bit all the way through both of them. Now obviously on the next moulds I'll do this right at the beginning, before I even start cleaning up the moulds, because it's remain, so make any repairs and stuff right at the beginning. And on the next mould, this area around the pins will definitely be strengthened up a bit. If I'm still printing with two shells, yeah, I'll definitely be strengthening those two areas up. Okay, right, so we've prepped the two parts of the mould for joining the wing sections together, so the wing skins together. We need to now just clean up put that there, just get some rubbing alcohol and just clean up the bits that we're going to, the gluing faces. So let's lift this up. The seams, the bits that we're going to be putting glue on need to be grease free. So I'll just fetch up the I'm also cleaning this area here. This is where the internal ducting is going to be glued. into the wing. See these little recesses here for the internal ducting. Actually fits in there. So I'll get the top skin, do a quick little wipe over. These come out unbelievably glossy, considering how sort of matte the moulds were once you put the ease release on. So yeah, it's pretty good, getting better and better. Same with this side. Okay, so the my glue of choice at the moment, the last test I did was with Gorilla Glue. Previously I'd used super glue, and the last wing I joined came out really nicely with Gorilla Glue. It's also nice in the sense that the glue actually foams up a bit, so if there are any gaps in the jointing faces, the glue will fill that. Just got to be careful not to put too much on there, save the weight. So I've weighed both skins, and they both, in this state, they're the total is 23.4 grams. So it's just be handy to know how much the glue is going to increase the weight by. Right. Okay, so there's a nice and clean, ready for action. Just take our mould apart quickly. So we've sort of done the dry test, and everything fits okay. All the pins located right now from yesterday. One's still in there, and we've given the parts a coat of quick release, ease release, to stop them from stop the parts from sticking, or stop them from sticking together. Remember the super glue I used before actually glued the two mould parts together, so we've moved on from super glue, and we're now using good old Gorilla Glue. Yeah, pretty easy to use. Apply to one face, a thin layer to one of your faces, and you just slightly dampen the other face. I think it absorbs the moisture from the air, and a bit of water actually helps it cure. And then clamp the two together, wait a couple of hours, and you're good to go. So that's what we'll be using. Another nice thing about it, I know it takes 2 hours to cure fully, but it just gives you loads of work time with it, so it's nothing worse than having to rush with 5 minutes epoxy or super glue. So it actually works quite well. Be interesting to see how heavy, what sort of weight it puts on. So this is going to be the button bit, so we're going to have it in this orientation. So this one's going to be here. Okay. Now that's pretty solid. Okay. So if that was slipping around, I'll just put a couple of dabs of old Pritt stick or U stick, just to keep it in the mould, keep it positioned. And this is going to be the top skin. Yeah, that's going to pop out nicely. So we don't want that falling out while we're trying to line it up. So I'm just going to pop a couple of small dabs of glue on the wing skin just to keep it in place while we're setting it up. And this stuff is water, it's water soluble, so it'll just wash it off. We just need to keep it in place, stop it from moving when we bring the two pieces together. Okay, I was just about to say that's good. It falls out. Yeah, it's a bit extreme that, so let's put a little bit more on. Say it's water solid, also it washes off really easy. Just put a little bit there. Huh? For luck, it's not going to do any harm whatsoever. Okay. I ain't going to stick because of the ease release. So it's just like a temporary sticky bond just to hold it in there while we set it all up. Okay, hopefully that's going to. Okay, I should stay in place long enough for us to line it up. Okay, so the easiest way for applying the Gorilla Glue, because you don't want to, obviously you want to put as little glue as possible. Actually, I'm just thinking, yeah, it'd be alright. Just wondering whether I should just. I'm just going to put a couple of tabs on this as well of glue. I don't want the Gorilla Glue going under the skin, so you know, it might go under a little bit, but if I'm careful. But when I'm applying it, when I'm actually sticking it on there, I don't want it actually going under the skin. So I'm just going to put a couple of dabs here and there. Just doesn't just encourage it not to. Put more on that than the other one. Oops. Okay, that's a bit better. These were just rising ever so slightly, and I didn't want the glue going underneath there. Okay, so we're happy with that. Put the lids on. Okay, see in a bit. I'll just go around it, get some glue on. Okay, so what I normally do is just empty some of this onto a flat surface, rather than try and squeeze it on there. It's easier just to apply it with a. It's way too much, but anyway. Just got my little favourite stick. Just take a little bit. Yeah, remember, the more glue you put on, the heavier it's going to get. So you need to keep this. Yeah, you got a bit of time, yeah, so don't rush it. Yeah. The stuff sort of flattens out as well when you leave it for a sec. It's quite nice. Some soft levels. Sort of lumpy bits to take out. So. We want it to sort of squash out this side if we can, but not on the inside. If it squashes out on the inside, then it's just adding weight. We don't want it. We don't want excess glue in there. We don't need it. Carefully, gently. Just a little bit on that edge. This edge is so fine. Like I say, I was already over the top with how thin I went on it. So more than enough glue on there. Loads of glue on there. So now we'll just go around the rest of the. But we put all this effort into sort of getting the ribbing and whatnot, and we need these to stick together with the other wing. Otherwise, you know, you lose all your sort of shear strength through the wing. Pointless exercise if we go through all that work and then they don't meet up and glue attach. So it adds so much strength to the wing. So, you know. So you got going into the tip there. just go around and check that we've got everything. Make sure we've got no obvious big lumps of glue. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, so all that's left to do is to drop the top bit on. Carefully. No rush. And then we just need to push these pins through a bit because they're quite small. So I'm just pushing through about halfway. So now everything's aligned. Okay, we look down there. You can see it's joined nicely. You know, we've got quite a bit of a gap there. So what we'll do is clamp it all down, and should be good. So let's grab our boards and our trusty clamps. Oops. Because we've got some clamps spare, let's put those on. Not going to do any harm. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. Make sure these are all sort of done up the same amount. You know, again, we don't have to go crazy on this. Yeah. Let's put it on. Let's call it. I think that's probably enough. If you look at those parting plane gaps here, they're all squished up. So, you know, that looks pretty. Do you know what I forgot to do? Damn! Just realised I didn't wet out the the other half of the mould that you would normally do. I'm going to leave it and see how she looks. I'm not going to take it apart now. Let's leave it for a couple of hours and see how she looks. But normally, all I'd do is just run a sort of very not too damp paintbrush around where where the joining face is going to be on the other's face, the face that didn't have the glue on, and just to help activate it. But hopefully it should still work, just with the humidity from the air. Okay, so we'll catch up in a couple of hours.